this week we are talking about the letter X. And so as you see here, I have two big lines. So you see my smiley face right up here at the top. So once again, we always start all letters at the top. So I would put my finger up here at the top and I would draw a big line down. And I'd pick back up my finger, come over to this top and draw another big line down. And so that is the letter X. It's so cool. Now, something fun about the letter X is it actually makes two sounds. So the main sound that I really want you to concentrate on is the X sound, okay? So X as in X. But you'll find that there are some words like xylophone that begin with the letter X, but you don't hear the X in front of xylophone. It sounds like a Z. So that's where X can be a little tricky. So you will see some things that say xylophone, like over here on our poetry, there's a picture of a xylophone, and that is spelled with the letter X. But for most of our words, we're gonna focus on the X sound, okay? Now, the other thing about X is there are very few words that begin with the letter X. You're gonna hear X, a lot of words that end with the letter X. So I'm gonna bring out our letter bucket, and so we're gonna take a look at that. So as I kind of talked about just a minute ago, we have the xylophone, which begins with the letter X, but it makes that Z sound. But we're not gonna really worry about that, but I just wanted you to know that because I know a lot of people, when they see X listed as a letter, lots of times the xylophone will be listed next to it. So this is something that you can put presents inside of, and you might even put food inside of it. So what do you think that might be? It would be a box. So you hear that ending? So it begins with the letter B, but it ends with the X. So box ends with the letter X. So that's why we have a box in our letter bucket. All right, let's see what else ends with the letter X. This is a number. So it's a number 1 through 7. So if you say all those numbers, 1 through 7, which number ends with a X sound? So I think it is the number 6. 6 ends with the X sound. Do you hear it? So at the beginning it says S, which is S, but then it's X. So there's the X. So 6 ends with the letter X. All right, this is a type of animal, and it lots of times is in stories that we've read, and it starts with the letter F, so it says F, so it goes F, X. So what is that? What is that? A fox, right? So fox ends with the letter X. So there we go. Yay. All right, I have another one. This one is used for chopping down trees, big trees, and maybe even some branches, some bigger branches. And it begins with the letter A, but it ends with an X. So if I say A, which says ah, and then I have the X, which says X, and I put that together, axe. What do I get? I get an axe. So there's the axe. So axe ends with the letter X. All right, and then there is a word that begins with the letter X, and that is if you were to have to go to the hospital because you broke your leg or your arm and they needed to take a picture of it. Does anybody know what that is called? It would be called an X-ray. So an X-ray, so they could see your bones and see maybe where you broke it or where it's been hurt or fractured. And so X-ray does begin with the letter X, and that is the first letter in the X word. Okay, so there we go. So we have that. So that is our X. So great job. All right, so now let's come over here and let's look at the letter X as we write it. And once again, you're gonna take your pencil, crayon, marker, whatever it is you have, and you're gonna start at the top where your dots are, okay? And so you're gonna start up at the top, and you're gonna just make a big line, and you're gonna slide down. You're gonna pick up your marker, pen, pencil, crayon. You're gonna come back to the other side, and then you're gonna draw another big line down. So it's like X marks the spot, right? If you were a pirate, I'm once again gonna trace, because tracing helps me. And then I'm gonna write it over here again. And then I'm gonna trace it again, big line down here. And then I'm gonna write it over here. And then I'm gonna keep doing that until I fill up my whole page. And then when you do the lowercase x, which we've kind of talked about, when we talk about our lowercase x, it's another great lowercase letter to write because it is the same thing as doing your capital X, except that it's just smaller. So then I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna make my lowercase x's, and that's all I'm gonna do, just make it a little bit smaller. So it'd be like taking the little line and making just little line, little line, little line, little line. X marks the spot. Yay! But you guys did great on the letter X. All right, so now let's come over and look at our poetry journal, and I'm gonna move my camera in a little bit closer so you guys can see it, okay? So once again, if we look up there, it says letter X. So I'm gonna take my highlighter or my yellow crayon, and I'm going to trace the capital X and the lowercase x. So once again, in this poem, it's gonna have the word xylophone in it, which we kind of talked about, but then the rest of it is gonna have some X words in it. So it says X, which I'm gonna highlight, is for X-rays. All right, so then I'm gonna highlight that capital. And xylophone, so once again, we talked about here that X makes kind of a tricky sound and it sounds like a Z, but I'm still gonna highlight it because there's a lowercase x. For you, X, here we go, is for a fox. Ooh, and remember, fox, it has X right down here, but it's at the end of the word fox. In a box. Ooh, now we sound like Dr. Seuss, right? And so there is another X, and that's a lowercase x. And an X-ray, so I'm gonna highlight that X, fish too. And then we have, of course, our capital X right here and our lowercase x. And that is it for our X today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed doing your letter X, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.